Good morning. I don't know why, but this is it just feels like a very energetic morning today, so you may have gotten up ready to go and ready to get stuff done for absolutely no reason other than today is the day for something to happen. So you may be moving things forward in a way that you didn't see coming. An idea may have struck your mind, struck your brain as soon as you woke up, and you're just on it. But this is Rogue Mystic Divination, and this is going to be a midweek check-in. This particular reading is for the collective, so it should be all shuffled here. I've rambled enough. So, I'm going to do 3 piles. And pick one, pick all of them. It does not matter. They will each involve 4 cards. And I don't ever do anything in a particular order or way, so if I change something up and start doing it a different way, it's just whatever pulls me to do it that way. So I don't try and follow any methodology because life is chaos, and chaos creates a pattern if you zoom out far enough. So hopefully you have picked a pile, but if you are still listening to me ramble, so a card for you to consider for the rest of the week. The Ace of Wands. You have a new project, and that explains the vibe that I woke up with. A new project, inspiration, and urge to create. So you have a lot of potential right now, and it's just narrowing in on what it is that you want to get done, taking it step by step, and breaking it down to where you complete it in its totality rather than needing to come back and clean up any messes or anything unfinished with it. So I normally get that vibe with the break it down and do it step by step with the Devil card, because the Devil is made up of many different creatures, and with that it's kind of like I'm trying to see if it'll pop out, but maybe it's on one of the stacks, so we will see. Okay, I'll just put this there. And if you have picked stack 1, I will have everything else timestamped below, so if you don't want to page through, it should be. We do still have the Ace of Wands up here. I know you can't see it, but there we go. That I'm just going to keep that up there for all the stacks, and because that's the energy for the rest of the week for everybody. But pile 1. This is you right now. And even though you may have some self-limiting beliefs, these ideas that you have about yourself may not be coming from you. It may not be because of anything that you've directly experienced, but are the opinions that others have of you that are affecting how you see yourself. Do your best to step away from the ideas that other people have, not just of you, but of projects, of situations, of what it is that you should be doing, how it is that you're doing what you're doing. Try and center yourself more on one idea, the idea that you're you, and you're the primary focus of your life. That does not mean be a selfish, indignant, disrespectful asshole. That's not what that means. What it does mean, however, is that you are the center of your life. You are the one who has to deal with the consequences of your actions or inactions. You're the one who has to determine discern whether or not you're going to, how much it is you're going to incorporate the thoughts and opinions of others in how you see yourself and how you see other things and other people. And you may be at a point in your life right now where you've been clouded. Not just in one area, but whenever something comes up, you're looking to other people for their opinions. And it's blinding you to your own capability. So, and just a little bit of an explanation for this. This is it's the Eight of Swords. And on this card, you have someone that's wrapped in binds, but it looks like they're cloth. They're not chains. They're not absolutely hard to get out of. And if they're thin enough, they could possibly be seen through. And they may have been placed around you at some point in an attempt to heal you, or for self-protection, or because of some spiritual or mental, emotional wound that others caused you to put on yourself. And instead of healing you and then falling off, those bandages have been an excuse to not move forward. Like, well, I'm still hurting. Well, I'm still not over this. Well, and here's the proof of that. And this could also be an addiction that you've picked up in order to cover up or rely on to distract yourself from what was actually going on. So, but in the card, other than the bandages, you have these ideas over here, which are pretty much the ideas that you've left in the past, but you still have these two over here that are on your level that may be controlling you. So while you've been able to get past some ideologies, some thoughts that other people have had, methods of control, there's still a couple that you have to deal with. And then there's this one solitary idea that's in front of you that will actually help free you, but you still have to walk towards it in order for it to free you. So, for the other, there's two. And we still got one more, but I'm going to hold on to that for a second. What's behind you is this isolation. And you may be over it, you're not forcing yourself to be isolated, but that doesn't mean you're not still alone. You started to find your way, and you started to find out what's going on. And you started to shed light, because a hermit, even though he's in reverse, is shining light on what's going on. It's towards this Eight of Swords. And with that, you have an idea of what you need to move towards and what's going on and what it is that you've gone through and where it is that you're positioning yourself within those ideas. And it does look as though, with the Queen of Swords coming up, as though you're going to start understanding how you got there, why you got there, and what it is you need to do to get out. Now, even though the Queen of Swords is looking forward and has a solid idea that they utilize to empower themselves, they are still sitting on a throne of other people's ideas. It doesn't mean that they were positive influences on the Queen of Swords. It's things that they have gotten through, that they have formed an absolute opinion about, and that they have put in their place. And they've built off of that. They've used that as a foundation, good or bad. Whatever the event was, whatever the idea was, they've put it behind them. And now they're using whatever it is that happened in the past as a foundation to build their own ideas, to wield their own ideas, and have no problem presenting them and moving them forward. With the Queen of Swords, it is a position, or it is a character that, or a character trait that says that you will be putting independent thought and having a clear idea of why it is that you think a certain way. And you're starting to organize why it is that you think certain things and understanding how your own mind works. So, and that's what's going to end up leading to your independence. Even though you're using this as a foundation, these calcified ideas of others as a foundation, it's most likely polarizing things that you may have had a problem having a vocal stance on. And this looks like where you're at right now. You may, even though, like, this is where you're at, but this is what your expression of that is. And this is where you will be by the end of the week. So, these are two totally different positions to be in. But you are starting, by starting to step away from these ideas of others and moving towards this sword here, that is going to be the sword that is in your hand by the end of the week. And this is how you're going to get there. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to go out and party. There you're going to go and do a bunch of things that you shouldn't be doing. What this says is that you may end up coming into a position where you may be overindulging and using the company of others as an excuse to do that. Because we haven't hung out in a while, we haven't seen each other in a while, and whenever things end up getting to a point of talking about the past or talking about certain people, it may end up being this moment where you decide that, you know what, I don't care what other people think right now. I don't care to know about any of this. And they keep focusing on it. They keep focusing on what's going on with other people, and they're not going anywhere. They don't have anything to talk about themselves. And whenever you start to get agitated, most likely you're going to make a subconscious decision. Be like, well, this is the last time I'm probably going to hang out with these people. This is going to be the last time I intentionally run into them. And by building that boundary, the back of the chair here, you're going to end up putting a boundary between yourself and these people and these actions. And instead, you're going to focus on your idea, on your own ideology. So I'm not trying to make these incredibly long, so pile one. If you like this reading, if you would like to see more from me, or more like this, I know I change it up a little bit different every time, but things change, right? So please like and sub, and if you like daily, weekly, monthly, whatever collectives and for the signs, I also do pick a cards, please come back. And now I'm moving on to pile 2. Pile 2. This is you. Right now, this is a midweek check-in. And thank you if you stayed around for from pile 1. But right now where you're at, you've been putting work in. And you've been trying to keep your long-term view in mind, but you may be getting a little bit impatient for the results of something. You want this to last though, so you're trying to hold on to that patience as much as you can and keep holding on, because you will be able to, even though you're starting to see results, you will be able to harvest from this idea or this practical action for a very long time if you just remain patient. And this is where you were in the past. This is where you were in the past with the 7 of Cups. You may have been forced into a position where everyone was throwing options at you and forcing you to make a decision. And a decision that they were wanting you to make was based on fallacy, it was based on lie or manipulation. They wanted to put you into a position where they could continually manipulate you and continually keep you in a position that they wanted you in. And they may be left confused. They may be left confused because they thought they had such a good idea. Well, if you just did this, if you just did that, if you did, this, well, then we'd all be able to work together and everything would get along. And, well, you wouldn't be in the position that you wanted to be in, but you don't have a tendency to make decisions for yourself anyway. You tend to go with the flow and do whatever anybody else tells you to do or whatever they suggest that you do, and then everyone gets along great because you're so malleable. Because you're so agreeable. And you don't mind whenever people blame you for being in a shit position. Because, you allowed yourself to be there, so you must be okay with it. And you don't have a right to complain. And I'm going to tell you right now, and you're probably going to agree with me, that is a shit position to put someone in. And it looks like you've used that shit from this position and used it to fertilize where you're at right now. And that's a good thing to remember. Regardless of what other positions or what other gifts or whatever temporary, pats on the backs, patronizing actions that people have thrown your way and you're supposed to be happy with. You've used that to fertilize whatever it is that you have going on right now. Which is why you need to remain patient with yourself and with whatever you're trying to grow into something tangible. It is still very important, though, that you don't feel pressure from these people or these situations and allow them to make you harvest this early. Because this is where you can be. I'm going to take this as not a negative for you. Not directly, but as a negative for whatever this was over here. Whatever you're working on will put you into the position where you could use what you're growing to manipulate others. Where you could use the information and what they've taught you as a directive on how to treat them. But don't do that. You've been building more than something physical that you could lord over other people. You've also been building a sense of self. And with the devil in the reverse in the future, where you'll be at the end of the week, I think whatever desire it is that you have to manipulate and maybe even get revenge on these people back here, use whatever it is that you find out about yourself to release the limitations that other people have put on you and release the limitations that you've put on yourself on behalf of other people, especially those that you've put on yourself on behalf of other people. If every time you show a hint of personality or a hint of individualized thought that doesn't immediately align to their thoughts and you pull back and you hide it, that's not where you're going to be back. That's not where you're going to be at anymore. Even though you do have something where you might be able to put somebody else in a spot, or you could leave them alone. I do believe you're going to choose leaving them alone. And I think that because what you've been working on and what's in the past are totally disconnected. You did this regardless of what the opinions of others may have been. You may have even been keeping this a secret. But it doesn't look like you had an exit strategy for whenever you didn't need these people anymore. You didn't need these false ideas anymore. Or these bad opinions. You may not have even had as much faith in this as you thought you did. You could have just haphazardly started something and saw it start to work, and then, well, hey, I'll feed into that a little bit here, I'll feed into it a little bit there. And now you're seeing how far doing that has gotten you. And you don't want to end up sinking into a position of ego. And it doesn't look like you will, because even though you may think about, well, I could do this, I could do that, you're going to end up choosing your freedom. And it doesn't feel like this resentment is towards any of this over here. It feels like it's more along the lines of resentment towards yourself, which you have to work past. Like you could have been doing this the entire time. You could have been doing the Seven of Pentacles the entire time. It was so easy, it was so haphazard, it was so hands-off. You could have been doing it this entire time, and you could have been free from this Seven of Cups a long time ago. But any thoughts that you have of manipulating other people right now, you're going to end up walking away from. Because if you focused on what they thought or how they worked or whether or not it was you could lord something over them, that would be allowing their status, their success, or their failure to control you, because you'd almost want to gloat over it, or you'd want to be able to give that look, like, oh, that's the position that you're in now. That looks familiar to the position that you put me in. Well, why don't you just XYZ it like you told me to do? It should be easy, right? It does feel like if you do end up slipping into that, you'll notice it right away, and you'll pull back from it. So, as tempting as it is, do not become the people that you're trying to get away from. Do not, even though they were perfectly happy in that position, even though they were perfectly happy to be in that position, and were perfectly happy to keep you in your ship position, which you utilized somehow without their permission, without their oversight. Remember that that is not something that you want to replicate in the universe. You were given the opportunity to move past it and to utilize it to grow into something, and now you need to take that growth and keep it going. We already know that for me, the devil is a do the pieces fit card. Do you have everything categorized properly? Do you have them where they need to be in your life? Do you have something in a position in your life where it doesn't need to have this kind of control over you? Are you trying to control something in somebody else's life that you shouldn't be? And it looks like that's what, looking at it that way, is going to help you stay out of becoming the people that you hate. The people that you don't want to admit that you hate, but you do. And you have reasons for it. You have reasons to feel the way that you do. And you can't allow that hate to take over your soul. You have the opportunity, you have the willpower and the tools, or you're starting to have them in order to be able to move past what you've been taught. And you've used bad advice to your benefit. You've used manipulation that's been used against you, and still managed to find the ability and pathway to crawl out of it. You're taking some barren landscape that was unfertilized, unwatered, and turning it into something that you'll be able to rely on long term. And this could just be your relationship with yourself and how you practically want to deal with yourself. Changing how you think and how you interact with the world is going to be your foundation, not the verbatim rhetoric that somebody else is trying to jam down your throat. So pile 2, it looks like you're moving on past something, maybe not very quickly, but you're starting to develop what you need to develop a lifelong plan, even if it's just being able to rely on yourself, self-confidence, and knowing where it is that you're at mentally, physically, emotionally with yourself. You don't need anybody's permission to approve of your positive aspects. You don't need anybody's opinion to see your negative aspects. You can take stock of yourself, and you don't need anybody, you don't need to wait for anybody to approve or deny anything. So you have a good rest of the week, pile 2. If you like the content, if you like the reading, please like and subscribe. And thank you if you're sticking around for pile 3. I also do daily, weeklies, and monthlies, so please check back in for collective and zodiac signs. Pile 3. The Ace of Wands is still up because if you didn't catch the first part and just went straight to timestamps, you could be rushing through your day a little bit. Slow down. Somebody may be trying to get away with something that you're going to catch very quickly. But they still have some secrets that they're keeping. And you may be able to tell because they are reverse talking or backtracking or mixing up their words. And that's one of their tells for whenever they're lying. Also, with the Seven of Swords, it does, even if this is you, and this is you thinking that you're walking away from something with everything that you got, or everything that's yours, you're not, you're leaving something behind. And it could be something that other people are keeping secret from you. Something that you don't know that you have, or that's supposed to be yours. And you're looking back because you have the twinge of intuition that you're leaving something behind, but you don't know what it is. Even if you're trying to walk away from a fight, it's almost like it's too easy. It's too easy, and if it's this easy and they're just kind of aloofly like, oh no, stop, don't go away so quickly, they could know that they hold something more valuable than what it is that you have in your hands. And even if they admit to having this, they might even throw it in your face like, but what are you going to do about it? Your hands are already full. You already have so much to deal with that you don't have the time and money to get a lawyer. You don't have any ability to come and take this from me. So watch out if anybody is using that against you. It does look like, though, you're going to somehow, even if you look weak, even if you look raw, like you don't have anything left to work with, you don't have any more left to give, you're going to come over here and either let this go, or you're going to come over here and move past it for the rest of the week and end up with more than you ever thought you could have. This could be you finding inner strength while finding out what your insecurities are. Or that's where you're at right now, where you're starting to doubt what's your strength and what you're drawing from other people. But this is where you're defining what it is that's actually within you to draw from, and what may have been being kept from you. You could have an ability, you could have an inner strength that you weren't allowed to see. You weren't allowed to acknowledge. And if this is a family situation that you're walking away from, these two swords that you're leaving behind, that you're looking back at, may actually be two relationships, two parents or family members that you had a very solid idea in where you're at with them. And they cut. They're swords. They cut. They were harmful whenever you handled them. Because if you didn't handle them exactly the right way, you were offensive. If you didn't only acknowledge what they wanted you to, well, then you paid for it. And these swords that you're carrying with you are the ideas and the bad opinions that these other two, or that other people have about you, because you're carrying them by the blade. The most harmful part of the sword. And you're allowing those ideas to hurt you. But coming upon this inner strength and struggling to find out where it is that you're at with yourself, it's going to be better if you just kind of sit and lay and let everything wash over you. Acknowledging your insecurity is going to be where you'll find out what you need to work on. And then the Emperor is where you're going to find yourself, which is a great combination. If this is you in the past, or this is what you were dealing with in the past, and this is you right now, this is where you're going to end up with yourself this week. You're going to take ownership of yourself, leadership of yourself, and that's going to help you foster happiness and fulfillment. Even if it's just in a relationship with yourself, that's where you're going to be at the end of the week. You're going to find a newfound way to respect yourself. And take control of what it is that you think and feel about you. Maybe even just by busting everything down to practical nuts and bolts and focusing on what the pieces are and how they fit together. The Emperor rules over an empire, and the empire is made up of many different pieces which independently work on their own, but they all contribute to the Emperor. They all take care of themselves, they all do their own thing, but they have one thing that they're great at. Usually, one thing that they're great at that the Emperor decides to utilize. And he lets them independently function day to day. And that's what I see you doing, is allowing certain things to independently function day to day and trust that they will work out. I mean, you're focusing on the overall picture, the overall leadership of how all this is supposed to come together. It's not obsessive micromanaging control. It's, are you doing what you need to do? Good, I'm going to leave you to do what you need to do, and then we're just going to move on, and I'm going to focus on other things. And trust that what needs to get done gets done. Giving up some of this micromanaging, hands-on control is going to help you get to here. It's going to help you to align better to other people. It's going to help you find inner contentment and peace of mind. And you'll finally be able to acknowledge the love and support that you're receiving, even if it's just from yourself. Sometimes letting go of other things that weren't serving you is actually supporting yourself and caring for yourself. And pile 3, that is where I'm going to leave you. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe. I do daily, weeklies, and monthlies here. And if you stayed around for all 3 piles, thank you very much. It does look like the Ace of Wands is going to help move things forward quite a bit this week. So hang in there, even if you have some bad moments, and it will work itself out to where it looks like just about everybody who found this will find a little bit more control, self-control, and control within their environment. So have a good rest of the week.